Call the spaceships to Davenport. Prepare for Div Anarchy. An interface with a couch in space. Space couch time once again. I already broke my stupid fake tooth, so that's going to be a little weird looking. We're getting it fixed next week. Don't worry about it. But what you should worry about are today's advertisers, brought to you this week by Legerhawk Records. Check out this week's Tremendous 10.
Through the fog, my thoughts are hazy. What did you do to us all now? Yeah. Okay. But all of the boys and all of the girls are begging to if you seek me. Love me. They'll get pearly white teeth, lead asbestos. Times are hard and the kids.
Also brought to you this week by Super 7, the coolest action figures in all the land. They got some new Thundercat stuff I haven't picked up yet, but we'll see if we can make that happen. Go to super7.com/Space Couch Show, Vampire Mermaid.
Now for Vampire Mermaid. Vampire Mermaid.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, in Turnabout is Fair Play. I was just fortunate enough to do her show, and now we've brought her all the way up here to space. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome JACQUELINE Van Bierk. What's going on? Hi, welcome to space. It's been a minute. I don't have puppy dogs for this one. I just have space, so we'll have to. I'm already a disappointment. That's the Space Couch brand. Well, thank you so much for coming on my show. I had so much fun on yours, and I know you've got a bunch of stuff coming up real quick. So I definitely thank you for that. You are prolific. You have a lot of stuff out in the world. So let's do a little feature I like to call Encapsulate What You Create. So we're just going to sort of do a drive-by on your projects, and let me know if I got this right. Correct me if I'm wrong. So there's your currently you're under the name of JACQUELINE Van Bierk as the artist name, sort of I don't know if solo project is the right moniker, because then there's Pinkstar Music. Are those different sort of entities, at least that we should think about it? Okay.
Yeah, they are.
All right. So there's sort of different bands, I guess. And then there's Otto's Daughter, which is a whole other entity. And then we have coming up very quickly, you doing Vokes for Ann Ash on the East Coast tour. With Unit Code Machine, who I know quite well. It was just a weird thing. So that's all going on. Tell us, so what does Pinkstar Music do? Tell us about that.
Yeah, it's interesting because when I was getting into Web3 and NFTs and crypto, that was way before, but I kind of joined the Web3 community on Twitter. Back then it was Twitter, now X.
Right.
And I just wanted... I had the name Pinkstar before. I wanted to rename Otto's Daughter Pinkstar.
Okay. Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and then we did that for a minute, and we were like, "This is stupid. why are we doing this? It doesn't make any sense, I just want to rebrand. It's funny, Otto's Daughter. We've gone through so many phases where I felt like we're not really that goth. So what direction we go on? So it seems like we're going a bit more metal pop kind of. I'm like, maybe it's just time to rebrand it, so we're not this gothy band anymore, and be more commercial, and we hated it. We're like, this is stupid. this is so not who we are. And Jim was really he's like, I don't know what's going on. I just want to write music. Yeah, I'm like, you're right. I think there was still a phase like when we were trying to kind of get a record deal, and we quickly decided this is bullshit. We're just gonna stay with Otto's daughter, and then I kept the name Pinkstar because I had pink hair for a long time, red or pink, and so people would always call me Pinky, Pinky, what's up, Pink? And I'm like, well, Pink is already taken, but yeah, I'm a star and Pinkstar, and that kind of became my Twitter, I guess, name. And then the idea was to do all my collaborations under Pinkstar.
Okay.
You know, because like a lot of things didn't really kind of match Jacqueline. And then Jacqueline Van Bierk is just like my name, my artist name, I guess. I never really wanted to release under Jacqueline Van Bierk, and I ended up releasing everything under this name. So
Always how it goes, right?
oh my God. And like sometimes I'm like, I cannot stand that about myself.
Oh, yeah.
Can we just stop with all these freaking names and, you know,
I am not one to judge. I think I'm up to side project like 57 or something. It's
but it's fine, you know. And I did like the idea of like the pink star, the logo, and the memorizing, and we did merch and stuff. And then so every time I go out, I kind of, last time we did a show, we actually did like Otto's daughter featuring Pinkstar. I'm like, this is all so stupid.
Right.
Whatever.
Yeah. It's well, thank you. Well, for clearing that up. I wasn't sure where the distinctions.
But you know, and then I got this, and I'm like, I guess I keep that name, you know, and it's kind of my personality, I guess, behind like the Her Gypsy Rebel podcast. It's Pinkstar, and yeah.
It's just part of the Jacqueline cinematic universe.
Yeah, it's just it's
sick.
It's the
well, the latest release I could find, and correct me once again if I'm wrong, was under the Jacqueline Van Bierk artist name, the song "Happy Ending." Pretty cool. Could you? And the video is epic. What could you tell us about this track and where the video is shot?
Yeah. So that was kind of my comeback song. I took, you know, after I quit Otto's daughter, quite honestly, my whole world kind of crumbled, and I really lost identity of who am I as an artist. I was doing music, film, and TV, but I was like, fuck, like, what am I gonna do now? You know? So I took a long break because and I released one solo album, and I was like, you know, I don't know, like, am I still doing music? What am I doing? And I wrote this song. And it was kind of my comeback song. It was like, you know, can't stop me now, can't break me. I'll be the last one standing. I'm like, I'm going to keep going. I'm just going to keep going. And then we went to Germany, and there was this gorgeous, I said, I want to record this in a castle or by a castle. So that's when you were saying the music video, you know, where that was. I was like a castle near Frankfurt.
Cool.
And it just made sense, you know?
Yeah. Well, it looks great. And smash cut to the present and very shortly coming future, because I think it's coming up real quick. The NS tour. You're doing vocals and all the revelation, I assume. But
that's so fun.
Hell yeah!
I love that fucking song so much.
That's so cool. Oh, me just at my stupid summer job, waxing floors, listen to a dub cassette of that track, and now you're doing the guest vocals. That's so dope. So that starts pretty quickly. The only question I have here is, are you pumped? Like it sounds pretty awesome.
Fuck yeah.
Hell yeah.
It's interesting because Michael, he was drumming for Otto's daughter. We had a few shows like for the NFT thing in New York, and so we were in touch, and he was drumming for Otto's daughter, and then out of the blue, last year he hit me up. He's like, "Hey, would you be interested in singing for Anash?" And I'm like, "Fuck yeah!"
Hell
you
yeah.
know, I love Anash, and he's also a fellow German. And it's so funny. We met a long, long time ago in LA. We talked for like 10 minutes or something, and then we never saw each other again. And one time we drove by the 405, and it was so funny. It was like all this traffic, and I'm looking over, and he's looking at me. And I'm like, and I haven't seen the guy in years, you know.
Wow.
And we just looked at each other like, Hey, what's up?
Is that the KMFDM guy? That's weird.
And then we haven't seen each other in a long time. So we reconnected. I love this guy. I think he's such a freaking brilliant guy, and he's also such a nice person, So, and I got to know him better this time last year, and the little tour we did, I was like, yeah, I'm in. Whatever you're gonna do, I'm in. I'm fully behind what he's doing, and I love that he's still doing his thing.
That's amazing.
Every musician, and it's such a hard business to be in, the music industry, because of touring is expensive, and it's hard. And so for him to still do that, I think that's freaking badass, and people love it.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. Yeah, I'm
Very
super
cool.
excited.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So we'll throw those tour dates up here. And definitely check out our guest if you have the means to do so. I'm jealous if you can. So definitely tell me how it is. We were talking about this a little bit on your show, and sort of a big part of your ethos, if you will, seems to be your growing up in East Germany and escape from communism.
Very good. You said it nice.
Alles klar. Yeah, I spent a year in Freiburg am Breisgau. That's in im Westen.
Westen, yeah.
Not by wherever you were in East Germany back when that was a thing. So that sounds pretty intense. Can you tell us about escaping communism?
It's funny that it's still kind of a little bit like that. They still say East and West. It's kind of, especially the older generation. It's hilarious. When I was pretty young, and my then boyfriend, we would go to Hungary. It's kind of interesting. We didn't really have fancy. Imagine like East Germany was like a world of gray.
Right.
When I finally got to West Germany, it was like going from a world of black and white into a world of color. Like I was like, oh my God! Like
you can see it. Like for like, if you're in Berlin and like look at the East and look at the West, it is like you describe. It's monochrome, and then somebody switches on that color dial.
Yeah. And so we would go to Hungary, and we would have, you only were allowed to exchange a certain amount of money, and we would get like food in tubes and stuff like that. We just like.
So when you say you go to Hungary, this is like vacation, or what are you doing?
Yeah, vacation. Okay. And you had to apply for a visa. You got to exchange a certain amount of money. Then you did it on the black market. You could do more, but otherwise you couldn't.
Badass.
And then we would save all our money. We were at the Balaton, which is like a beautiful the sea, the Baltic Sea, and we would spend all our money getting clothes because we couldn't get that in Germany. And so you would come back and you're like, yeah, I got what no one else has. Being more of an individual, right? And the second time we went, people from East Germany started escaping the borders. So we were like, holy shit. And he had a Trabant. You were mentioning that last time. And so we managed, I don't remember how, but we managed to get an address to go and get through the border to Austria. And we got there close to the address, and all these soldiers came down from their freaking, trucks, I guess, whatever.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a tank, but like close to it, like an army car.
Big scary vehicle.
Oh yeah, with their guns, and they're like, "Where are you going?" And we're like, "Oh, we're just visiting someone here." And they're like, "No. There must have been many people going there." So.
Oh no! Okay.
Yeah, and then we were like, "Oh fuck," So we had to. They made us turn around. We went back to East Germany, and I was just like, "This is it." Everybody's gonna escape, and I'm just gonna be stuck in this freaking country, forever, for the rest of my life. And I watched all these people escaping, and then we saw people going through the wall, through the fence in Prague and at the embassy. And my then boyfriend's dad was like, "All right, guys, you're kids, you're young. Get in. We're going to go tonight. I'm going to drive you to Berlin. You got to take a train to Prague, and you're going to jump over that fence."
Holy shit. Okay.
And I was like, fuck yeah. And then
That
I
is the
told my
punk
parents,
rockest thing I've ever heard. Okay.
and I told my parents, and I'm an only child, and my parents were like, no, no,
Right.
because they didn't know if I get killed, if they ever
Very
gonna see,
possible.
if we ever gonna see each other again. We didn't have phones or anything like that. It wasn't like, hey, I made it, you know.
Right.
So yeah. And I told them, you know, we cried obviously, and I'm like, listen, I have to do this. Like, this is my only chance to get out of here, you know. And it was crazy because in East Germany, and I talked about that on when we had the conversation on my podcast, like the only thing Germans wanted, the East German people wanted freedom, right? And
Right.
there were so many attempts before, and so many Germans got killed by Germans that just wanted to escape. They just wanted out, you know.
Right.
They weren't criminals. They didn't. And if you think about it, common sense thing, if you don't like the country you're in and you're talking shit about the country, well, maybe let them go, right? Why would you keep these people there? But that's how it worked, you know?
Wow.
And people that did apply for it, which I met later on when I was in the embassy, and then
So you did jump the fence. Let's not skip over that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I thank you for pulling me back.
No, I'm just enthralled.
No, please, yes. So we get to Berlin. And so I tell my parents, I'm going, we're crying our asses off, and
Yeah.
you know, we never know. And I'm like, everything will be fine. Let's just trust that everything's gonna be good. So we get to Berlin, and again, crying our asses off, saying goodbye to my boyfriend's dad. And we're looking for the train to Prague. And, you know, in fear, we're like, oh my God, like, who's watching us? Maybe they already know, you know.
You never know, yeah.
Don't talk to nobody. So we get the tickets, we get on the train, and we're just sitting in a train, and people just looking, like, everybody's kind of like, because you don't know. There's a
and
spy next to you. If
how
there's
old were you
like,
at
you
this
know,
time?
I was super young. I was like in my teens. And then,
Okay.
and we're just like, don't talk to nobody, you know,
Right.
like, they're like, so, hey, how you doing? Yeah, I'm good. Like, how are you doing? Yeah, I'm good. Where are you
Right.
going? We're like, you know, just seeing some friends, you know. Oh, how about you? Yeah, same. And then the guys that checked the tickets in the train came by, and they took all of my luggage. They took everything out, my
okay.
underwear.
Right.
I was so, I mean, I'm a teenager. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? I felt
Sure.
so humiliated, you know? And because they were looking for if you had papers with us or anything
Right.
like that. And we didn't. So we're like, all right, fuck. So we get to Prague. We get out, and again, we're just standing there thinking, holy shit, we don't speak the language. We don't
Okay.
know, you know, who are all these people. And so we hailed down a cab, and we're like, embassy, West German embassy, not East Germany. And we get there, and it's so funny. When I was just in Prague a couple years ago, and it dawned on me, because I couldn't remember if I was just imagining that or if that was actually reality. When we got there, the guy told us, go through the park and the embassy is over there. And I'm like, this is a fucking setup. What do you mean?
Yeah, that sounds like wink, wink.
Why can't
yeah.
you just, I'm like, why can't you just drop us off exactly at the embassy? It's like, this is the embassy. You just have to go through the park. And it
Okay.
was dark. It was so scary. We were like, and there were people like walking with suitcases and suit and tie.
God.
And I was just like, okay,
It's a movie.
if I'm dying now, like, at least I
Yeah.
tried, you know? And I was so scared. And then we walked, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? But then we saw other people walking the same
Okay.
way. I'm like, okay, like, you know, I
Right.
hope it. And suddenly we saw some lights and people saying, come over here. And they were like, you know, back in the day, they did like this thing where you put your
Yeah,
foot
yeah.
in there. And they're like, come on. And then we got the help to jump over the fence.
Wow.
And when I went back, the fence is fucking giant. Like, it's giant.
So
I'm like,
you've been back and saw the fence is still there. The fence that you gotta get the alley.
the whole embassy, everything is still
Okay.
there. And when we went to Germany, and I took my mom and and my now boyfriend, we went, and I said, oh my God, I'm in Prague. Like, I escaped here. This is a huge.
That is wild.
I kind of forgot. I'm like, sometimes, I don't know. And I'm like, oh my God, we got to go to the embassy. Like,
Sure.
that's a huge thing. And I mean, that changed my entire life, right? So we get there, we drive there, and it's Prague. The streets are like narrow,
Right, I've
super
been
narrow,
there.
right? Yeah, so you know. And
Yeah,
so
it's crazy.
drove up there, and then we're like, oh my God, like where? And then we saw you can go in a side street, and then you were at the back where the actual like garden or the refugee camp was like set up. And yeah, I looked at it and I'm like, oh my God, I
is
jumped over this.
wild.
How did I do that? Like,
Wild.
and then the guys, like these security guys came again with their guns, like, what are you guys doing here?
Are
You're not
you that
supposed to be-"
girl? And
And I'm like, you don't understand. I escaped here, like, back when and they didn't give a shit. Like, I don't even know if they understood. They're like, you can't be here. You gotta go. And my mom and I had like, it was so emotional because I'm crying because I'm like, oh my God, like I still remember everything. And my mom was like, oh my God, I saw it on TV and I was so hoping to see you, because I didn't know he didn't know if I ever made it or not,
That's what. So
Yeah.
I will. Obviously, we could make the next 15 hours about this story, and
Oh yeah,
we won't.
yeah,
But
it's crazy.
I'm just fascinated. So you get the alley-oop over and you land. Boom. That means you're in.
I felt like, okay, we're safe now,
Right. So when your feet hit the ground, you're in just the West German embassy at that point?
Yeah.
Or okay.
Yeah.
So boom, and then you go, okay, so that happened. And then did you have a place to go, or did you have to figure that part out?
Fuck, it was so crazy. So it was packed. I mean, there were people left everything
this was
behind.
the thing to do. You're not alone. This is like a ton of people. Okay.
Oh, there's a ton of people in there.
Okay.
Families with their kids,
Got it.
strollers.
Okay.
I mean, they left everything behind to go over there, right? And there's tents set up, and we were in the tent. I think 54 people were in the tent, and I mean, there was supposed to be like 20 in that tent. So we, we squeezed on like those army beds, and mine had like a rip already, and I had like a big like kidney infection when I got to West Germany. It was crazy. But they just like, yeah, you can go over here and then just make yourself, see where there's room.
Okay.
And then it became so crazy because people just kept coming and coming. And I mean, people started going wherever. If they had to go to the bathroom, they had to wait for like 3 hours in line, little kids and food, and people would fight over Coca-Colas because we didn't have Coca-Cola. Or bananas or oranges, and I'm like, oh my God, everybody stay the fuck calm,
Yeah.
And at the same time, people were celebrating already because we were like, oh my God, like
we did it.
This is monumental. This is like, this is a revolution we're doing here. And then it became so bad that the West German regime, like they said, hey, you can't do this with your people. You have to let them go because we cannot keep them there anymore. This is too many people in the embassy. The embassy is overcrowded. It's a health hazard now. And then I think we spent like 4 nights there, 5 days, 4 nights. And then Genscher, the chancellor at the time, came, and the most epic moment ever. He came on. He was on the balcony, and everybody saw it on TV at the time. It was like, I'm here to tell you, you are now free. We will have trains come pick you up. Please stay calm and
I felt chills.
Oh yeah. It was crazy, and yeah, that's still, I have to try not to cry about that because it's like, it was amazing. And then we had to decide. Then we got put on trains, and then they took us to the south of Germany first, and it was sad because a lot of people tried to actually jump on the train while
I've heard that. Yeah.
Through that town, and some people were waving, and then the asshole like Stasi came by, and they all took our IDs and stuff. Like, they looked so unhappy, and I was like, fuck you. Yeah, and then we got there, and they asked us like, where would you like to go? Like, would you like to go to Hamburg, Hanover? Like, they had like certain areas that people could like migrate to, and then pretty much like kind of here when there's like immigrants, like, because we didn't have anything, so they gave us $100 first, and then families volunteered to like take us in, to give us to get started, find a job or whatever. And then so we found this lady, and she took us in for like a few months, I think 2-3 months, and that's when I went to the store the first time, to a drugstore, and I was in tears. I was like,
wow.
Nail polish comes in all these colors?
Wow.
wow. I'm like, I know it sounds so stupid, right? But I was
No, no, no.
like, I
It's
could not.
amazing.
I have chills. I was like, why everything is so colorful, and I felt so deprived of all that
That
because we
is
never had that, you know.
amazing.
The only taste of it that I ever got was Hungary because they were
Right.
very west, you know. And the other thing in Hungary was that we took all our money and we spent our money
Mhm.
on clothing because we just wanted to have cool clothes when we come back
Sure.
and have the experience. So we didn't eat anything like because a hamburger at the little vegetable stand was like 25 marks hour for
Oh,
us.
wow. Okay.
And so the West Germans came and for them everything was dirt cheap. For us everything
Right.
was super expensive. And I remember going to like a discotheque. We went and I just wanted to get a water, you know, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Can I please get a water?" And they're like, "You want water? Go to the Balaton, like They didn't
Right.
give me water, like unless I buy something, you know."
Right.
So yeah, that was fucking crazy, like how everything was just
That
and I
is
made a list of
wild.
things like that I want to eat when I come back home. You know, I said, "Mom, please, like, can I have Königsberger Klopse and you know,
Wow.
because
Amazing.
we just ate from tubes the entire time. Like we put our own food. I think maybe
Unreal.
once we got something, you know, but yeah. And I mean,
I-
it was not like East Germany. We did not starve. Like we did
Uh-huh.
not starve, but oranges, bananas.
Hmm.
You know, they were you could only get a few when they came,
Hmm.
and when they were out, they were out. So like,
Right.
and my mom was a waitress. She ran a restaurant later, and so because she threw parties for people, and my dad was a musician, so that's why she had connections
Okay.
because they wanted. So you know, I rub your shoulder, you rub mine, kind of
Sure.
thing. You know. So we all like there would stonewash jeans came in
Uh-huh.
five, you know. So
Yeah.
my mom would get notified like, hey,
Okay.
you know, we got
Wow.
new spit
Underground.
coming in. If yeah, you know, it was crazy.
That
But I
is
mean, a black and
fucking
white, you
story.
know. And honestly, growing up in East Germany, for me personally, and then I heard other stories because I met people at the
Hmm.
refugee camp, and there were people there that actually applied to leave the country,
Yeah.
and they were just terrorized. They had to get they lost everything the minute they applied, you know, like their job, their family. Yeah, they were canceled basically when canceling was
Right.
even a thing.
You're
And yeah, and then they
basically
would get,
self-canceling.
oh yeah, and then they would get interviewed once or twice a week, I think, maybe once a week.
Get
And they would just tell them shit. They would be like, "Yeah, Brian, by the way, you know, your wife, your girlfriend is, you know, with this guy." They would just make shit up to
just
to
to
get you fuck with you. And or like just the lady I was talking to, her name was Tamara. I'm not in touch with her anymore, but she started crying. She's like, "I can't even tell you what they did to me."
That
She's like,
is I've not
it,
heard that.
yeah,
These are the little
yeah,
details you miss. Oh my
yeah.
God.
They put these people through hell, and then it could be 3 months, 6 months, 2 years. Suddenly you get a notification, and within 24 hours you gotta go. You gotta
You're
leave.
done. Oh,
You're done. Yeah.
wow.
But imagine you're spending another 2 years in a town that pretty much like canceled you. You can't work
Yeah,
anymore. People don't want to be associated with you because you know you betrayed your
right.
country.
You're
You're traitor.
radioactive.
Yeah, it was really what they did to people was really
Um,
horrific. And of course, the people that if you ever get a chance to go to Berlin, you can go to the museum and see how many people
yeah,
lost their lives for wanting their freedom. You know,
yeah. It's
it's
pretty
crazy.
intense.
Yeah.
The I've been a couple times. There's a story that I like. Correct me if you know this one, and I get it wrong, but the either the West Germany or by way of America or not had gotten piping to like for plumbing purposes, and what they did was cut it in half and then like basically half pipe over the edge of the Berlin Wall and put glass on it, so you couldn't get over it. Like that's what I heard, but
Wow.
I wanted I vorher könnte ich fließend Deutsch sprechen, aber nicht mehr. I used to be able to speak fluent German,
That was
and
not bad. That was not bad.
not practiced, nicht geübt. But a lot of some family members, like second cousin once removed, like fairly distant, came from there, and they used to tell, meaning East Germany, and they used to tell this joke. Stop me if you know this one. Uh, why aren't there any bank robberies in East Germany? Because it takes 15 years to get a getaway car. But That joke is 40 years old, everybody, but our guest liked it, so thank you.
I love German jokes. Like that one was actually really good. Like some of them are just so dumb. What was the one like? Why is the banana, like shaped like that? Because it avoids East Germany.
Well, do you know what comes between fear and sex? Fünf!
Good one.
Yeah, I forgot that joke until just now. Oh, you're bringing it out of me.
Oh my God.
I read I'm Unmasked by Andy No. It's a book about Antifa, and he was talking about how the Berlin Wall was referred to on the east side as the antifaschistische Schutzwall,
Yeah.
the anti-fascist protection wall was what they called. And I'd never heard that before. Is that how you experienced it? Like, this is all to protect us from the fascists here in the East?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Very, very interesting for today's political climate.
It's just so it's funny because the environment we live in right now. It's been I escaped East Germany and I escaped being shushed, and I feel like holy shit, like I'm back. I'm back to where I came from, and the propaganda and the brainwashing, But I mean, it's always been that way. Even advertisement, right? We're being brainwashed all the time, and we're being hypnotized all the time. Everything is hypnosis,
it's
really.
All psychology and advertising.
Yeah, it really is. But yeah, we've always told, oh yeah, they're gonna attack us, and I'm like, who? Why?
Just them. Yeah, fascinating.
They're our enemies. I'm like, why are they our enemies? Then why do they come over here? And we lived in a Neubauten, right across from the police station.
Neubauten? Sorry.
And the West Germans had to come and first register with the police at the police station to so they know they're there.
Right.
And I would see the cars. And I was like sneak, like.
Oh, wow. It was just this glimpse of the outside.
And I was like, oh my God, like there's a Bravo magazine, there's like all the shit that I can't
all
get.
All this contraband. Amazing.
And as a kid, you think, for me, I always thought that they're better than me, because obviously they live in a colorful
Something
world.
Must have happened, yeah.
And they have access to everything, and I don't, and it really fucked with me.
Yeah.
When I met people, sometimes I met people in Hungary, and it's a crazy story. But me and my boyfriend broke up in Hungary, and I was like, "Fuck you," and he's like, "Fuck you," and so I was on my own, and I ended up hanging out with this group of people that they were from West Germany, and I didn't tell them I'm from East Germany, because I didn't want them to know, because a lot of them looked down on us.
It was that much of a black mark.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
I mean, not everyone, but it was very. It was enough, and West Germans were pissed because we got the money, and like they were like now we have to pick up their slack, because everything we had, our factories, even our jobs, the job names didn't even exist in West Germany. And our factories, everything was broken and old and like recycled shit from like Poland or Czechoslovakia or whatever, like from the Eastern Bloc. So they just, a lot of them didn't like that,
Right. Amazing.
It was a bittersweet thing. They did like it because, we were finally united again.
Right,
and then the whole money, we still had the mark, and then they had the West German mark. And like when all that started to happen, like the older generation had a really hard time with all of that.
That's incredible.
Adjusting.
Yeah. I was in Germany when they switched from the mark to the euro, and there was a lot of flack about that. But
man, yeah.
Even then, this is way back in 2001. There was still, even as an outsider, I could feel sort of that tension, but we could spend all night on this, and it's not even night where I am. Well, I mean, it's always night because I live here up in space, and definitely not Knoxville, Tennessee. But I have to move on because I want to get at least this. There's no slick transition because your podcast is amazing. Her Gypsy Rebel. Previously Soul, like, was it? Did you have to change the name from Her Gypsy Soul, or was it?
Yeah, I was just, originally it was actually the stories that bind us. I just
Uh,
figured like I love that people have everybody has a story, and I love
uh,
that people often think, "Oh, my life is so boring. Or I don't have a
mm,
story. Or I don't matter." And I just wanted people to give a voice.
uh-huh.
And then eventually I stopped the podcast because I was doing too many things, which
Hmm.
I try not to do. And I took a break, and then I started doing like a little master class last year, and I was like, I want to use my voice. You know, when you,
Hmm.
as a musician, you're like, oh yeah, I want to be famous. For me,
Sure,
at least, I was
sure.
like, I want to be famous, a rock
Right.
star. And then I was like, but this is about my voice, and I want to use my voice in many ways. I like vocal coaching as well, which is
Hmm.
fun. But
Okay.
like, but giving people a voice, right? Like bringing people on a podcast. So I was like, Her Gypsy Rebel just seemed so fitting because
Mm.
I am a rebel and I'm a
Mm.
gypsy. I'm doing the RV life, and this is all about risk takers and rule breakers, people living the not so conventional life.
Very cool.
And that's why I had you on too, because you're so, you're doing your own thing.
Hell yeah.
And I think people sometimes need that permission slip, seeing other people doing that.
Yeah.
But like, oh my
Yes.
God, like, they make a living doing that, or they
Hmm.
just left that country and
Hmm.
so it's really yeah, giving people a permission slip to just be who they are and not hide and live that truth.
Fantastic. Well, you there on Earth, check out Her Gypsy Rebel on Spotify, YouTube, all the places. Spelled like you would spell it. And so, one of your central mantras, if that's the right word, would be to declutter and reclaim your space. Could you tell me like what this means to you, or how we can think about decluttering and reclaiming space, high level?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So I need order. Like I'm borderline OCD. Not quite, but definitely I live in an RV. So
Okay.
and my guy is definitely more, he doesn't really care so much about things laying around. I'm like, so I'm very much because I can't create when I have like clutter in my space, I cannot
Hmm.
create, I can't think. And so I started teaching it to other people
Oh,
because I
okay.
think and then I realized this is a problem many people have, and there's a lot of shame around it and guilt, where people either hoard, they are hoarders, or they have someone passed away and they don't want to get rid of it,
Yeah.
or like that t-shirt reminds me of the first show I
Yeah.
ever went to, and just helping people to that it's okay to let things go, that less is more.
Hmm.
And also I feel like, man, we live in this, and I'm guilty of it too. You go to a store. Now I'm much better at it, but God, when I used to live in LA and New York, I had a closet full of things that I never
Right.
wore, but I have to have it,
Yeah.
right? Because
Oh,
oh,
I'm sweating. I'm sweating. You're right.
oh, and
You would be
so
mad at me.
well, it really started when I left. So I've started many chapters. Like I left East Germany with pretty much nothing.
It sounds that
We
way.
started we started in West Germany, and then I met this girl, Sandy. She was one of my best friends. She is my bestie, sister from another mister, and she wanted to go to New York. She's like, "You want to go?" And just I'm like, "Fuck yeah!"
Hell
As
yeah.
a little girl, my dream was to see the world. New York is just like steam coming out of the fucking ground. Yes, I want to see this for real.
Right.
And honestly, the minute I touch ground in New York, I'm like, I'm home. And I still
Okay.
feel in my heart New York is home. What it's turned into now, not so much. But the essence of New York
Hmm.
still is like, to me, that's like, oh. And so I pretty much went there with hardly anything either. And then I built something in New York. We built Otto's daughter and all that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
And then, but when we left for LA, we took a little bit. But when I left LA, I only took what fit in my car, and I had a Mitsubishi. No, what did I have? I didn't have a Mitsubishi. That was like New York. I had a whatever. I had a Kia,
Not an
and
RV.
so not an RV.
Yeah.
And I was just done. I
Yeah.
was like, I don't know if I want to be here anymore. It just, I don't know. I just
Hmm.
felt. I say I get itchy feet, like whenever I feel like I need to move on to
Yeah.
do something different, and yeah, so I got rid of a lot of shit, including a lot of my Otto's Auto CDs,
Yeah.
old videos, which I regret now, old videos of my dad and
Right.
but when I'm in that mode, I'm like, just fuck it. It just stinks, it just stinks.
Oh yeah.
So you don't have to be as drastic as that, but I feel like for now my rule is, I buy something new, something's got to go. Like,
Got it. Yeah. No, now I'm better at that too. Like I can't just be buying
yeah,
shirts.
yeah.
See the
But yeah, but I think it's when you realize you have space, then you have space to actually also everything has energy, everything carries energy.
Yeah.
So sometimes old pictures, old things that meant something to you years ago, they might just holding you back from
Yeah.
bringing, even relationships, right? Like if your whole space looks like a single guy's single girl home, well, that you're not creating space for a new partner, like
that's
maybe
my problem then. Okay, that's why my Tinder's
maybe.
deader than dead. Yeah, well, it's like I would get guilty about like shirts. Like I haven't worn this shirt in a while. This shirt must feel bad, which it makes sense in my stupid head. But then I'm like, oh, I could just not wear it and get rid of it because I never. Anyway, yeah, I got a little bit better when I moved to Knoxville. I want to move on because I want to make sure I plug your Patreon.
Thank you.
What can our space viewers expect from your space Patreon, or I guess Terran Patreon because you're an Earth?
Oh, I like space Patreon. Like,
okay, space Patreon.
I'm like Venus. Venus is actually my planet, so I'm
okay.
I'm
Sick.
Like,
oh, you're on Venus. I should swing by. All right, cool.
Yeah, you should.
All right, I didn't know we were so close.
Oh yeah. Patreon. So I do song reactions, and that's kind of how I started as an artist, and I did reactions. So it's like a mixture of reactions, but also people can request covers.
Oh, okay,
I
cool.
also do meditations and breath work over there. And
awesome.
like on a higher tier, I teach Kundalini yoga. I haven't done it yet because the tier has not been there yet. But they're all kind of, it's just creating a community of like-minded kind of individuals,
well, let's see if we can't grow that here. It's Pinkstar Music on Patreon, or is it?
Oh yeah,
Pinkstar?
PinkstarMusic.com and Patreon is like Jacqueline Van Bierk.
All right.
That's what I'm saying.
Jacqueline Van Bierk.
I gotta pick one name.
Yeah, you will get no judgment from me there. I think I started another side project while we're going here. And one more thing. What's something about RV life that people might not expect that have never lived the RV life?
It's not cheap.
Okay.
Like, people think, I should just get an RV and then I don't have to deal.
Right.
No, it's like, it depends. Like traveling, you have to definitely make arrangements to like not make arrangements, but have a little bit of money put away in case something breaks down.
Okay.
A lot of RV campgrounds right now in Alabama, and the one we are at right now is actually super affordable. It's $500 a month plus oh God, I gotta plug my laptop in. Hold on one second.
Yeah, sure. we can pull out an edit point. So edit point back in. You RV life. People think I'm just gonna go hit the road, man, and live off the grid. But no, you gotta have some scratch to make it work.
You could live off the grid if you had it set up correctly, if you had your solar panels.
Okay.
So it can be done, definitely. And but depending on where you are, like when we're in Michigan, oddly enough, it's almost $1,000 a month. Very average.
Wow.
That's just rent. That's rent, So a lot of times it's like you could rent an apartment, but I do like. What I like about RV life the most is that I can pick up and go anywhere I want.
That's cool.
So let's say like, oh, we don't like it here, fuck it, like we're just gonna go to Virginia, or check out other places.
Pretty sick.
Lots of RV parks around, and like this is a resort. Like the one we were before was the same price, but it was not as nice. And so this one has actually showers, a pool, a gym.
Oh, wow.
Not that we use the showers, but we have our own, But that's what people don't realize, that it can be pretty expensive.
Can be expensive.
Yeah.
I have learned something today. And
Yeah.
now we will learn something about your question answering acumen because it is time for radiation round. Well, there's no
Oh,
wrong.
shit.
You can say there's literally no wrong answers. You could say purple monkey dishwasher and it's fine. But it's a lightning round, but we had to change it to radiation round because lightning is exceedingly rare in space. Okay, so we'll start out with classic German artists. Nina Hagen, Die Ärzte, or Silke Bischoff?
Nina Hagen.
Nina Hagen, alles klar. Okay, and then we'll go to, for our NAsh vocalist, we'll go to classic industrial bands. My Life with the Thrill Kill Cult, Ministry, or Frontline Assembly?
I hope they don't hate me, Ministry.
Ministry, okay. And you can't go wrong. And just out of curiosity, what is your favorite of the venues you've played with any of your mini acts?
Ooh, we played the Marquee Theater. I think it was in Phoenix,
Okay,
somewhere in Arizona. But oh god, that was so fucking nice. Like,
it's just
yeah,
a
they
nice,
had like
big, nice theater.
yeah,
Cool,
it had
cool.
big. That was when we toured with Typo Negative and with
Typo
Celtic
Negative,
Frost.
hell yeah!
Yeah, Celtic Frost and Typo Negative. That
Oh
was
wow,
epic.
what a bill! And that was with Otto's?
Otto's daughter.
Oh, Otto's daughter, Celtic Frost, and Typo Negative. Damn. Ticket price does not come with a seatbelt, but you played.
We all fucking like sang Black Number One on stage with them. Like, most epic moment
That
ever.
is the cool.
Ever.
That's so cool. Our guest today is not only doing vocals for Anna, she sang Black Number One with Typo on stage. All right. So from the top, we have Nina Hagen, Ministry, and some theater in Phoenix.
The
Marquee Theater in
I think
somewhere
it
in
was
Arizona.
Somewhere in Arizona, I think.
Yes. And well done. So now we'll move on to the last feature, which is hypothetical spectacle. We just come up with a hypothetical situation. Been getting some good mileage out of this one. So if you could change any policy or like law, what would that be?
Mm. No poison in our foods.
Nope. Ugh, so good. Good call. We don't need. I named my band Gasoline and Vertebrate, but that doesn't mean I want gas in my food. Get that shit out of there.
Yeah.
Yes, we talked about that on your podcast a little bit. I recently realized that like 40% of our food is owned by 3 tobacco companies. That's fucking crazy. Great answer. So that's all I got. We'll bring this flying couch back on into the station. I should make a title for this because it's to like feature status here, but we'll do a little. What did we learn today? We learned our guest is doing music under Jacqueline Van Bierk, also Pinkstar music and Otto's daughter, but will quickly be doing backing vocals for none other than the great Ann Esch, erstwhile of KMFDM and all sorts of stuff. Slick Idiot, you know him. The happy ending is out
Pigface.
now. What's that?
Pigface.
Oh,
Pigface.
just some band called Pigface. How could I forget them? Then I think everybody was in Pigface at some point. I'm not besmirching that. That's awesome to be in Pigface. I think I got kicked out. That's a joke. Let's see. Well, I can't even encapsulate that amazing story of escaping East Germany. That's probably the coolest story we've ever had here on Couch. Check out Her Gypsy Rebel wherever you find fine podcasts. Check out the Brian Graupner episode because it's clearly the best one. Declutter and reclaim your space. Things have energy. You don't need to hold on to it. Like, the Christmas tree ornament you made in 4th grade out of clay maybe you don't need it. The Patreon sounds like it's awesome. I need to get back into breath work myself. RV Life Ain't Cheap, Nina Hagen Ministry, and the theater I can't remember the name of in Arizona, and we'll get that shit out our food. Jacqueline Van Bierk, ladies and gentlemen, this has been such an awesome episode. I'm just going to close it here unless you have any Jerry Springer final thoughts. Unless you want to hit me with a chair like Jerry Springer. But,
no, I fucking love you. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, love you too.
And just spread love and light. I think that, we live in a time where just let that shit go. Take control of what you have control over, your own life. Make every day a great day and always follow your bliss.
Follow your bliss, people. Damn, let me know if you need a remix or something. That was amazing. This is Brian for Space Scouts for Jacqueline Van Bierk for like 80 bands saying, call the spaceship to Davenport, prepare for the battle game, and advance with the Captain Space! I thought I'd just let us talk over the end credits here. We'll let I named this astronaut here Spence Couch. And he does a little dance for a while, and then we are